Hello and welcome to a live code hangout. Today we're going to work on the Western Friend website. We're building this website with Django and the Wagtail CMS. The project is pretty far along. We've built a lot of features, including a bookstore with e-commerce, a magazine with a subscription feature, and community directory. And we're sort of in the process now of reviewing all of the features and finding little improvements to be made. A lot of those improvements are just aesthetic, but we might also discover some bugs or unexpected behaviors. Right now I'm going to work on this issue, a footer tweak, which is an aesthetic fix. Basically, there's no margin between what amounts to two columns. There's a column here, and then the third column here, but these two columns are the ones that are bumping up against each other. So this is a relatively small fix. We'll just, I've got the footer HTML open here, and we'll just put the margin start, it's the smallest value using bootstrap semantics. And now if we go here to our local host and refresh the page, we'll see there's a gap. That's the minimum gap. I hope that's all right. In a way, it groups the contact and social aspects with the administrative, the who we are and what our government designation is aspect. So okay, we'll go with it. All right, we'll commit that. Push this branch to GitHub. We'll open another pull request. Let's take a quick screenshot. Five. I didn't. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to move it over here now. Boink. Something like this. Capture that. Add a comment. All right. Here we go. Drag and drop. There we go. So closes 5:05. Let me think here for a second. It's essentially the same. think we can just go ahead and merge this. We'll review it if we need to do another cycle. Well, let's give it a little bit of time for review. It's a relatively isolated change. So what we can do is check out main again and work on a more complex issue, which is right here. We're using Postgres now in the local development environment. Previously, we were using SQLite. Let me just do one thing. And that means we can use more powerful features of Postgres and query syntax in local development, which will be beneficial in the deployed environment as well. What we need to do in this particular case is make a query across basically 3 different tables. We have 3 tables that inherit from the Wagtail page model, which is this generic content type that Wagtail CMS creates. It's essentially a tree. It's a hierarchical content tree with one root page per site. Wagtail is also multi-site. The site will have a root page and then subsections. So it's kind of like, what you would see in a robot's text or something. It's hierarchical though. So every page in that tree has to have a parent and potentially can have children, starting at the root though. We've got this section of the tree for storing contacts, and it turns out there's 3 distinct types of contacts that we want to treat as unified as possible, but still recognize the distinctions. We have people, organizations, and Quaker meetings, which are sort of a subset of an organization. People have a very basic data structure. It's just a first name and a last name. However, every Wagtail page has to have a title, so we're just generating the title from the first name and last name combination by concatenating those strings. Organizations and Quaker meetings have a title, basically as you would see it printed, like Western Friend. What I need to do, though, particularly in this import process, is search within those 3 tables. I think they're literally stored in 3 tables for a common field in each of those tables called Drupal ID. This stems from the fact that we're migrating our content from Drupal to Wagtail and Django. And every piece of content in Drupal is called a node, and every node has a unique ID. So these are just kind of pages, and nodes are sort of equivalent in a way. I don't believe nodes are hierarchical though, but they're essentially the primitive content types that ship with the respective CMSs. Pages come with Wagtail CMS, nodes come with Drupal, and have particular metadata and functionality. So when we're importing data, we don't want to lose data. We need to be able to reference it and make sure that it's coming in and rebuild relationships. So we're relying on this node ID as a unique identifier to rebuild these relationships. And the node ID for these contacts exists in 3 tables. By default, Wagtail doesn't have the ability to do like what I would call a transitive search. In other words, starting from a Wagtail page and finding content types that inherit from the page model and have split off for those particular reasons mentioned before, the contacts, meetings, and organizations. But there is a potential solution here now that we've ported to Postgres locally, which wouldn't have been possible with SQLite. I used SQLite as long as I could to keep the development environment simple, but now we're in a little bit more mature and somewhat advanced stage of the project. But we can index extra fields since it's not supported in the default search backend, if we can port over to Postgres in this case, and or add the Wagtail whoosh. Ah, so Wagtail Whoosh is optional here. Okay. That's unfortunate. Alright, well I can find that. So if we go to read the docs, and it's because they've moved the Wagtail documentation to a new site. Yeah, so there we are. So this is the documentation I need to refer to today for this new task. Okay. I don't know if transitive is the right word. But anyway, Wagtail Whoosh might be something we'll add. I'd prefer not to add any additional packages that may or may not be maintained. It's 2020. It's getting a bit old and running the risk of not working with particular versions. Wagtail. So this is Wagtail 2.2 or later. Although now we're running, I think, Wagtail 4. Let me double check here. Help. We used to say them. I can't remember Wagtail. Yeah, 4.1. So yes. So let's try it with the default search backend. And find out an approach here. So what I'm trying to replace is some import code that's relying heavily on pandas and keeping a data frame in memory, a big data frame of all the authors, and doing this searching across this authors table. I'd like to just rely on the database for that search during the import process. So I'm not sure this code session is not going to be really rapid paced, high, like coding solutions, but more kind of showing the part of the research and contemplation stage of development. 0.5. So start the timer. So let's open up this content migration script. And it's essentially, well, all over the place. Wherever I'm using authors, we're coming from a little bit of a messy content model in Drupal, where we, for historic reasons, decided to switch, separate people into different what are called taxonomies based on whether or not they were in an author of a library item. Ooh, this is interesting. Or an article. Oh, Kesty. I wish I could start a Docker daemon in the background without Docker Desktop running. I should look into that because I think Docker Desktop is eating a lot of RAM. And so now when we import library items, I'm deprecating this importer because we're moving the authors into a single bucket. When we import library items, I have to pull up this really big magazine authors file and read it into memory and then do queries against it. And this is what I would like to change. Yeah, basically this. I'm going to commit that to do, so I just remember to come back to that. Boy, that's what we're working on here. Yeah, because it's kind of kludgy and causing. There was some weird failures. I'm not sure if it was code related, but here's basically it. This can be a database query, right? Basically, what I mentioned to myself here. Instead of keeping an in-memory data frame, which has, I think, if I recall correctly, hundreds, if not over 1,000 rows. It's maybe not huge, but should be done in the database more efficiently. Yeah, so we'll have to tap into our models here then for contacts. And I guess I can read this aloud, but nonetheless, here's our contact models. For example, we have a person who does inherit from page. This model does inherit from page, so we're good here. We're in this paragraph. If we've created some extra fields in a subclass of page, which we've got this, and this Drupal author ID is the key field here. It's essentially the node ID for the author's taxonomy. However, I've got this other field here for legacy reasons that we have the authors, library item authors and magazine authors in separate taxonomies in Drupal. And I was trying to merge those into a single contact during the import. But now we've actually gone through and cross-referenced all those in the data itself. For all of the library item authors, we've got a field that contains the magazine author ID. So we're using that. I believe that's the way it is. And so nonetheless, it's hard to keep all this stuff in memory in my mind. And that's why we rely on the code and things like that. All right, so yes, we're going to just basically add indexes here. It looks like I don't have an index. Oh, I do. Given name and family name. So yeah, we'll index custom fields. I think I've pretty much got that. So you get for your model, you define search fields, which extend the page search fields, and then add your custom field in there. Now here's the tricky part. Let's see. Darn it. The tricky part is the field needs to be the same across models. And it's not in this case. Let me double check here. Is it? Yeah, it is. Drupal author ID, Drupal author ID. Basically what I'm after is that I can add this Drupal author ID in all the search indexes and then search across these three tables. Person. It's a bit tricky to see. Person. Meeting. And organization. Those are the three types of contacts. We've got some other helper tables to make particular types of relationships, which is essentially why we needed to split these out, because there's actually different domain logic, different business logic associated with person, people, meetings. All right, so let's go to your search, and we'll just copy this And I don't need a partial match here, so let's... Drupal author ID. That's cool. You can boost them up. Ooh. Very cool. Huh. I should look into this, these different types of indexes as well. Crazy. Wow. Books where author name is something. Whoa. This is cool. That's pretty powerful. I don't know if I have an immediate use case for that. And we're not dealing with custom models, but there it is. That's how we do it. Just adding this index mix in. Multi-inheritance in action. Or composition, I suppose. This is multi-inheritance is basically the Pythonic means of composing features and functionality. All right, so I think if we just put a comma here, and a trailing comma here, just for sake. Oh, I think we already have the comma there. So let's go down to person meeting index. Put a comma there. Meeting organization. Okay. So and then we need to update the index. All right. So I need to, it looks like, configure the backend. So we'll then go into our settings. When I click over here, database is good. I'm not going to use Elasticsearch unless we need it. Huh, okay. Yeah. Equals. Let's see if this is right. Yeah. So that's the first problem. I need to have a parent collection that's able to then search against this field. Not that field. Well, that should be pluralized. Okay, that's not set. So we'll go over here and just do the user interface. Go to our contacts, people, author, edit, indexing metadata. And let's just say 1. So that worked. But the same query won't work against page options. Yeah, that's why I'm asking for a transitive search. Maybe that'll work. Let's see, do I need to restart, run any migrations? There's no migrations run, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we switched to the Postgres backend. All right, the default one doesn't support it. That's cool. So then just Wagtail. This is not a big deal. Well, it is actually. Because in the context, when I'm searching for this, I don't know if it's a person, an organization, or a meeting in the code, in the importing code. That's why I'm relying on this table to be in memory here. And just finding the exact one that matches the ID. In other words, I'm importing a library item, and the item, it's like a video or audio or something, and it has an author. And that author can be a person, a meeting, or organization, but to the library item, it doesn't really care. It just knows the author ID. In other words, it doesn't have the information of the author type, and I need to find that author type by traversing into the author collection. The 3 tables. There's 3 of the tables to make the association. So I can't traverse that. I'm creating the relationship at this point in the code. In other words, it doesn't exist. The library item is being created and needs to be linked to an existing author that's already been imported. I've got a separate process to import the magazine authors. Yeah, and this spreadsheet here that I'm looking into, right here, takes the whole spreadsheet here and looks for this, each item in this. There's a helper function here that's doing that, but basically it's for each of these items, it's looking up that author in the spreadsheet and determining which table it is, and then associating that, finding that in the database. It's just doing some heavy lifting that I'd like to completely do in the database. Okay, so so I switched the back end. I don't know if it's a bug, if it's a expected behavior. These full reproduction, I understand the impetus there, but that's actually, I think, really big barrier to cross. And can be basically a barrier for participation. Maybe I just need to run that. Let's try it. Since I haven't actually created any content. Okay. Yeah, that's a good sign. I'm able to find something I specifically have done wrong. I'll come back to Wagtail Whoosh. There's too many tabs. Backend database.postgres. Okay. All right, good sign. I can find a bug like that. It's obviously wrong with my code. Yes, database. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, next. Oh, I guess. So that's what it's needing here. Search backend. Maybe we don't have to specify Postgres anymore, but yeah, here it is. Postgres.postgres. I think so, right? It's weird. I'm probably doing something wrong here. But it worked. Yeah, that's probably handled inside of this. This is probably unnecessary. I probably only need to specify database. Yeah. Yeah. So that's unnecessary. All right. I don't know if this is a bug or an expected behavior. That's the thing. I think Stack Overflow. I may have opened this, so I'm gonna just see if it'll help me. Where's that equal sign on this one? What is it? Filter? Ah. Ah, yeah. Page. Person objects filter. And it does return a query set. So I think that's about as much progress as I'll make today. I think these index fields are a good step, so I'll go ahead and commit those and push them up. Yep. We're in a branch. We'll publish the branch. We'll tentatively link it here. 503 closes 503, but it's unresolved, so it'll be a draft. Yeah, we'll take a little bit of a break now. I'll probably have lunch, and then I might come back a little bit later and see if I can make some more headway on this issue, or just take another one if I'm at an impasse. Yeah, this seems like the behavior should be supported by Wagtail, because you have custom content types inheriting from the page model, and Wagtail needs to support searching up cross-custom fields, like a body field. Well, that would be, I'm not sure if that's a core to the page model, but custom stream fields, all sorts of things that you need to be able to search. However, the typical way of searching those would be to use the model itself and then search in the custom fields. But I'm asking a transitive search question, which still should be supported if you have a unified search, like you want to do a cross-site search and include values stored in custom fields. I'm pretty sure Wagtail already supports this. I'm probably doing something wrong here. Not exactly sure what. I'll keep reading the docs and wait for a little, if there's any response in the Stack Overflow. All right, well, this has been another live code session, an example of sort of the quandaries we encounter when developing, and sometimes we'll have problems that involve a bit of research, experimentation, support requests, and things like that. Not everything gets closed and fixed right away, so yeah, we'll leave this one open for now. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well, and have a great day.